News, my lovely, wonderful people. Pope Francis has called for an end of any form of crisis going on in Niger, says we should do all we possibly can to avoid any form of war, and calls for diplomacy, people to look at options of negotiations, having discussions rather than, resulting to war, as war does not profit any single person. So Pope Francis has called that diplomacy be employed and that the people of Niger be given the opportunity to look after their nation, and for things to be done properly. Please don't forget to give us a thumbs up, like us, share, subscribe. Let's get all the details as Pope Francis get into all of this. Pope Francis prays for peace and good in Niger. Ask that it does not resort to a war. Pope Francis Pope Francis unites his voice with the Bishop of Niger, appealing for peace in the country, and offers his prayers for efforts of the international community to find a peaceful solution to the good of the people of Niger and the sub-Saharan region. During Sunday Anglicus in St. Peter's Square, Pope Francis said is following with concerns the situation in the West African nation of Niger. He said he unites his voice with the bishop appeal for peace in the country and stability of the sub-Sahara. Pope Francis said is also accompanying his words with prayers and efforts of the international community to find a long-lasting peace to the situation and give solution as much as possible for the good of all. And let us also pray for peace for all population wounded by war and violence, especially in Ukraine, which has suffered for so long. We don't want this to continue, and that's why we are asking and saying to the people of Niger, this must not continue. It must not result into a war, as nobody benefits from a war. The West African church leader The West African church leaders have also appealed for peaceful solution to the situation in Niger, expressing opposition to any form of military intervention. Leaders of religious order working in West Africa have echoed the region's Catholic bishop in opposing any military invasion as a result of coup that happened in Niger, saying it would only worsen the situation and innocent people will die. In a statement shared last week with ARC African News, members of the Region Conference of Major Superiors of West African reiterated the appeal by the regional conference to say that ECOWAS must rethink their strategy to restore peace, as forcing or causing all forms of disunity will not bring peace to the nation, but rather diplomacy, looking at things more objectively, will be able to help the people get out of any form of oppression going on now. So these are some of the matters being considered by all, saying no one should plunge Niger into, any form of hate or any form that will bring the country into instability and unrest, saying that the nation needs to move forward and people needs to begin to employ all forms of justice and truth in order for them to see what could possibly be the way forward, rather than being quiet and opposing truth. So these are some of the issues and matters that are going on, and why every single person needs to also pray for the peace in Niger, because currently as we speak, there are all kinds of things happening in Niger. The Niger Junta has said that the junta has said they are not relinquishing power anytime soon, but that they will do that in 3 years' time. That they will relinquish power in 3 years' time, but that anyone who is opposing to them should give them 3 years. But West Africa is saying, no, we're not giving you 3 years. Which 3 years? You have to answer to us now. But force is not the way forward. Forcing people, trying to impose yourself is not the way forward. Okay? Being understanding, Okay, are we saying it is right that this has happened? No. But understanding is important so that the people can move forward. You can't continue to oppress the people and think it's just going to happen. We must become very careful of the decisions we are making because everyone is watching. The issues of what is going on now is affecting every single person. You see what's happening? If we keep quiet and we allow the same people who have been oppressing and destroying the state of the affair, Africa, for instance, is so blessed with a lot of resources. And most of these people that are trying to say they are intervening, you need to check out their intention. You need to check it out. Are we saying that what the Nigerians have done is correct? That's not what we are saying. Are we saying that we should have allowed them to go about? We should just be quiet and allow things to happen to turn to a state of anarchy? That's not what we are saying. But there are better approaches in ensuring that we end some of these things. There are better approaches in all of this. There are ways that we can look at this matter. We can't just sit back there and allow the same thing over and over again. Do you understand how people are suffering? Do you have a clue things that have gone on with the people? The state of the affairs of the nation and things that are going on. Do you have a clue? Sadly, some of us do not really pay attention to understanding that these things ought to be, to be resolved and amicably sorted out so that people can go about their life. The Nigerians, they say we want our nation back. And if you listen to their complaints, it's valid. If you listen to their complaints, honestly, sincerely speaking, it's valid. They said we have independence, but that's all, we don't have independence. Other nations of the world are the ones, managing our resources. For instance, their own very bank is in France. Their CBN is in France. They will collect their own money. They will go and borrow it. Their own money. They will pay interest to return. They'll pay back with interest. Is that a good state to be? Is that a good thing? The answer is no. But these are some of the things that sincerely, truly does happen. And that's why the Nigerians, that may not be all, but it's part of the reason why they are fighting back to say, we want our nation back. Enough is enough. We want it back. So please, my lovely, wonderful people, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. Like us, share, subscribe. Click on the notification button so you can get all our latest news. Remember, you have a voice. God bless. Have a fantastic and a lovely day. And from us, it's bye for now.